Alrighty, everyone, let's go ahead and take a look at how this 2021 Nissan Rogue SV drives. So this one is the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine. This is the last year that they made this because they moved into a 1.5 liter turbocharged 3-cylinder engine, which I cannot say I'm a fan of 3 cylinders. For one, I mean, I think of a smart car, but two, it's like when you turbocharge something to make that much power, I mean, how much strain are you putting on that engine block? So essentially, I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't know if it's going to be long lasting, but needless to say, it could last longer than the transmission. So basically, 2021 Rogue SV. I have to say this is a comfortable vehicle. It's one of those where I'm not a fan of Nissan by any means, but the car drives well. And additionally, you know, beforehand, there used to be a really bad drone with these vehicles, and that's pretty much been reduced with this vehicle. Needless to say, of course, some CVT behaviors do remain, but I'm just glad I have a functioning one after what happened with that Mitsubishi. So, needless to say, a few things that I do like about this vehicle are the seats. For one, they are extraordinarily comfortable. Two, the suspension on this actually handles pretty well. It is a little floaty, but not like indirect. A lot of vehicles, when they get floaty, they tend to get sloppy, and this one's not like that. It's actually pretty planted and essentially knows its direction. Everything in here, the cabin is really quiet. I actually do like that, especially considering the type of vehicle it is. You know, a sports car person or a car enthusiast isn't going to buy one of these. So they really found their market, but needless to say, of course, few things that I'm concerned with would be, of course, the transmission. I just don't have a trust for Nissan gearboxes, and it's one of those where we've had issues in our family with some rental cars actually that had a CVT, and additionally with that, when my partner's vehicle needed work done, actually we got a Nissan Rogue, which just was very ill behaved, but that could have been due to a transmission going out. The car had more miles on it at the time. This one is an SV trim. It doesn't have heated seats, which I was kind of surprised because normally the second trim usually gets them, but this one does have features like adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitoring, so it does a pretty good job of, like, when it comes to features. It's just no heated seats, which I found kind of weird. We do have 3 different drive modes in this vehicle, and they all actually make the vehicle behave differently, which I do like. Nissans, you know, we tend to think of them being fun vehicles, you know, back before Renault took over and they were still under Datsun. But essentially, this vehicle is peppy, it's just not fast. And I'll show you actually with this next acceleration, it's not a fast vehicle by any means. Once you get into the higher revs, it kind of feels like it sort of tapers off and burns out. But when I'm actually just accelerating normally, it gets out of its own way. So we'll wait for a light to turn green. Transmission shift points are pretty actually good. It does mimic 8 ratios, and you do have flappy paddles on the steering wheel and a manual mode that you can choose from. It's a lot better than that of the older ones. I noticed that it definitely starts to go into those shift patterns a lot more readily than it did before. And that was the issue the Mitsubishi had, was it just wanted to act like a CVT, but it also could not develop enough power to lower the RPMs. So it gets out of its own way pretty well. It's now starting to go into the shift pattern. It likes to raise the RPMs a little bit, but as you see, it's actually not bad. It's not slow when you're going off, and it's not drony. Additionally, the rubber band effect is pretty minimized. And if I needed to put, you know, power down, it's not bad. Shifts are pretty quick. Tachometer definitely flies around, but it's definitely a lot better than some of the Rogues that I've driven. Comparing this to the previous generation, it's a market improvement. The previous generation was never really my favorite. I didn't really like the looks of it. I also found that the stadium seating was eliminated in this generation, but this one does drive a lot better. When I do put it into eco mode, however, this thing becomes a slug. It definitely just does not want to start these shift patterns per se. It really wants to stay in CVT mode, and tries to keep the RPMs around 2 to 2,500. So it's not bad. I mean, it's good that there's a big distinction between them. Additionally, with that, when it comes to sport mode, it will start in that artificial first gear and actually shift, and it's actually really nice. Just because a lot of times, even in sport modes, the cars that do have CVTs, they tend to essentially miss that. They miss the dig, and they essentially just try to give you everything once you take off. So I do like the fact that Nissan did program that. One thing I can't stand, however, and God, Lee, I'm sorry, my OCD is killing me. Where is the 1 on the tachometer? I just cannot stand that. It drives me crazy. But needless to say, let's go ahead and put it into eco mode, and you guys will see how this vehicle ultimately behaves in eco. Little drive mode indicator knobby thing is down here, but I don't have the flash on because like my phone just wants to overheat all of a sudden, so we're just not going to do that. But yeah, seriously, where is the 1 on the tachometer? That just drives me crazy, and like, Nissan, why? You know? I guess it's just me, I like even intervals, and so that just kind of bothers me. But in eco mode, you will see a marked difference when it comes to acceleration. I'll be using pretty similar throttle, but essentially it just kind of wants to just be not lively. As you can see, similar throttle input. We're raising the RPMs a little bit, but it's really just trying to, you know, be like, yo, bro, you just need to chill. So that's what it's doing. Getting up to speed still nicely. Smooth, linear for now. 30,000 miles on this transmission. So I know I'm dogging on the transmission, but I mean, guys, with Nissan's track record, I just don't know. Like, it's one of those where it's either you get a good one or you don't, and my sister-in-law got a really good one. She has a 2008 or 9 Nissan Rogue, and it's got 240 something thousand miles on it, all original equipment. So I mean, things don't always break, but when they do, they break hard. Let's put it into sport mode here. Oh, oof, okay, it just was like, we're gonna downshift now. All right, so sport mode will give the same exact throttle application or close to, because, you know, with that, my neurons didn't exactly get that pattern down. Muscle memory wasn't there yet. But let's go ahead and I'll show you how it behaves in sport mode. Definitely a lot better of a takeoff. That first artificial gear, and I mean, it's not bad. Sport mode definitely likes to hold those higher RPMs though. Foot's completely off the gas. Wow, I feel like I'm driving the Mitsubishi. No, I'm just joking. But, oh, hang on a second. I gotta go back to normal. But it's not bad. It's actually a pretty well-driven vehicle. It's just, it's something that Nissan's gonna have to really do some work in terms of making sure their stuff is reliable, because their cars don't drive bad. I mean, they really don't. They used to be fun. They're not as fun anymore, but I mean, it's one of those where it's kind of sad, because I mean, so many reliability issues just tanked the reputation, and Nissans used to be really, really, really good cars. So it's kind of a shame, but yeah, I don't know. Driving impressions of it though, I could take this on a trip. But would I ever purchase this? Probably not. I'm not necessarily a Nissan fan, but there's a lot of good qualities with this vehicle that, you know, some people may really enjoy. Like, I love the suspension on this thing. I actually really do like the seats in this thing. They're just so comfortable, guys. Zero gravity seats from Nissan are just one of the best inventions ever. And then with that, the interior quality is so much better than what it was before. You know, you had a lot of scratchy plastics. Like the 2007 to 2015 era was just full of junk interiors. Like, Nissan stepped up their game and they put a really nice interior in here. And I like that everything is upholstered, because literally, knowing me right now, I would have scratched my A-pillar because my nail just hit that thing. But it's one of those where everything's are upholstered in the right spots. Everything's soft to the touch. It's an elegant interior. It's just, is it gonna age well? I don't know. It's one of those where I always get weary of the new interiors, because they're, you know, it's not like that really durable vinyl they had. I mean, of course that used to tear, but essentially, we don't know. The interiors on this, they could age pretty well. I'm seeing that they're built, you know, those interiors are built a little bit more for longevity than those cheapy plastics for those throwaway cars. But I have to say, you know, it's one of those where we'll just kind of have to see. But needless to say, it's not a bad vehicle. It's just, It's an ugly vehicle on the exterior, but it's comfortable. I'm really not sure where the Nissan designer went wrong here. It's just the taillights are nice, but the front lights, I'm just like, where are the actual headlights and what's going on here? It just looks like a bug. But needless to say, it's not bad. It's just not my favorite design. Some people are really gonna look at this and be like, hell yeah, man, I want this. And so essentially go for it. We'll do another acceleration here. So it's not bad. Like, I'm sure the 3-cylinder sounds better, but it's not bad. I mean, it's not like too raspy, which I'm okay with, because a lot of CVT and 4-cylinder paired engines, they're just really raspy vehicles. But this one's not bad by any means. They really did a lot of improvements with this. So needless to say, with that, what I'm going to go ahead and do is let y'all go for now. But it was a pleasure doing this video. I hope you guys got to see a little bit on how the vehicle operates. It's definitely a lot different than the previous generations, which I do like. Additionally, they also bumped the horsepower up a little bit. It used to be a 175 horsepower, 2.5-liter 4-cylinder. They bumped it up to a whopping 181 horsepower. Heck yeah, man, that's 6 extra horsepower. I could just feel it. No, I'm just joking. But it's not bad. It's actually pretty adequate. You know, my Tucson has 181 horsepower as well, although mine is mated to a 6-speed auto, so it's not going to take off as well from a dig. But I mean, I still like the fact that it has like 6 fixed gears instead of a CVT. So with that, folks, thanks so much for watching. It was a pleasure, and like, subscribe, comment. It was fun. You guys have a good one. Be safe.